Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, MBC Lifestyles Diary. I live in New York and I love entertaining and cooking. I love fashion, I love traveling, and I like seeing the sights of New York. I'm asking you to join me on this adventure. Today we're at Astoria Park, and behind me you can see the Hell's Gate Bridge, the Triborough Bridge, and the city skyline. Astoria Park is known throughout New York because it had one of the largest swimming pools in the city. Also, it was the swimming pool where people would qualify for the Olympic swim team in 1934 and in 1964. Also, anyone who grew up in Astoria is familiar with this strip along the East River. Because as a high school student, this was a place to come hang out, meet your friends, and cruise in your cars. Very active thoroughfare of people just going round and round the park. Our American graffiti showing that activity out in California. Well, in Astoria, this was the equivalent. There's also a lot of history here, and these two bridges behind me help tell that story. And the East River here, you're looking at Ward Island and Randall Island. So this body of water is known as the most treacherous waterway in New York because under the water there's these deep fault lines, and that there are all these different reefs. There's also two different tides because you have the confluence from Long Island Sound and the Hudson River via the Harlem River. There have been two shipwrecks here, and there's some buried treasure supposedly, but because the waters are so treacherous, nobody's really bothered to go look for it. Hell's Gate Bridge is also from a Dutch word. Literally what it sounds like, meaning gates of hell, because the water was so treacherous, but it also means two straits. And it was here that a vessel carrying 1,200 passengers from the German Lutheran Church trying to go into the Long Island Sound crashed, and 1,000 people lost their lives here by either burning to death on the ship or drowning, which is what created an urban legend for this bridge of ghosts being seen. This bridge is for the Amtrak line, and it also is where the freight trains go. Now the Triborough Bridge is listed as a civil engineering wonder, and because people view it not as much as a bridge, but as uniting three bridges. And it was called the Triborough Bridge because it got you from Queens, Manhattan, and the Bronx. It was renamed the Robert F. Kennedy Bridge. So this street was open up until 2020, and COVID accelerated the closing of the street to make it more pedestrian friendly, bicycle friendly, family friendly. And I guess people got tired of the hot rods and all the activity. So Astoria Park was first a village with the prominent families putting their country homes there. And some of the prominent families of the day were Halsey, Hoyt, Barclay, Steinway. And they decided to develop it, and the Board of Aldermen got together and asked John Jacob Astor to allow them to name it after him in honor of him. And of course that was a move because they wanted him to invest in developing Astoria. So, and we're talking about the same John Jacob Astor, who we know is a very wealthy family, whose descendants still live on today. But the interesting thing is that he got famous from the fur trade and also by smuggling opium into China. So here's a mural, and above it is a plaque that gives you the history of this bridge, which was completed in 1917. And one of my resources says that this bridge will withstand and remain standing even if all human life on Earth is destroyed, or if New York is destroyed in some way. That's how sturdy it's supposed to be. The plaque here tells you the history of the bridge, and it tells you the original name of this park, which was the East River Park, and it shows that it connects New York City with Pennsylvania and New Haven Railroad system, and between the New England states and the states lying west and south of the Hudson River. This was all completed in 1917. And it was originally called the East River Arch Bridge, but everybody knows it as the Hell's Gate Bridge because of the history and the treacherous water and all these reefs that jut out that had like names like Bald Bill and Pig Island, and it's really interesting when you look into it. After the Civil War, the waterfront got more industrialized, and the people of this town petitioned for a park to be built. So 56 acres were acquired, and was acquired in 3 stages just to preserve the natural beauty of the area and give its citizens access to the East River. Another interesting feature of the Hell's Gate Bridge, if you look under it, you'll see a series of arches. So these arches have been featured in a lot of album covers back in the day when they used to have album covers. And for me, the most famous one is Tabu Kambu, one of their first records. They're all posing under the East River Arch Bridge. A big great lawn. In the summer they have movies and they have concerts. So there's been a lot of refurbishment of Astoria, and one of the things that they refurbished was the area in which we play bocce ball. And this goes back to the first wave of immigrants that came into Astoria, which were the Italians and Greek residents. Not only is it a playground, but all the water features are on. And in May is when they start getting the pool ready for the opening. This is a World War I memorial that was erected in 1926 by the residents of Long Island City, Astoria, to commemorate those loved ones and soldiers that lost their lives in the war. So not only was this a memorial to the World War I vets, but also during the George Floyd incident and the Black Lives Matter movement, this was also a meeting point for everyone to come and lay their flowers and their posters and their candles, and this is where the marches would end or begin. This park has 56 acres, and in it you have a pool. It has 6 basketball courts. It has 2 basketball courts, 6 tennis courts, and an athletic field. So here, right under the Triborough Bridge, you can see that there's been an updated park added, the skateboard park, which is in full use. And behind that is the athletic field, the track field, and exercise equipment. And another unique feature that most parks don't seem to have in the city is parking. In 2018-2019, this park went through a multi-million-dollar renovation. They redid the track and field, put AstroTurf, redid the bathrooms, just in time for 2021 with COVID, when this area got full use. There were plenty of trainers, gym bodies. I even came out here with Orange Theory and worked out in the open space. So this is Astoria Pool, and I'm sitting or standing on the terrace overlooking the pool, which will be made ready for the summer's beginning of May. So this pool was opened in 1936, and this occurred while Robert Moses was the park's commissioner. And the pool is done in the Art Deco style. And as you can see, there's bleachers and sitting areas, because as soon as it was open, that's where the Olympic swim team qualified. This is a historic landmark, the diving board, because this is where the high dives were performed. And unfortunately, in 2010, they decided to shut it down due to liability, and it was left in disrepair. But it was really gorgeous, and a lot of people petitioned to have it restored, but it fell on deaf ears. But it is a historical landmark, and it's one of the only diving boards that boast that history in New York City. And the section where you see the children playing, that also used to be part of the pool recreation area, and there was a kiddie pool there. But the city felt that it would be better used as a water feature park with segregated from the rest of the pool. Some features that stand out, and you can see the Art Deco influence in the railing, and across the way where the food commissary was, they used to have tables and chairs there for you to have your hot dogs. It was really a very big gathering place in Queens. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, MBC Lifestyles Diary. I'm at Astoria Park and I'm standing at the iconic Arches of Hell's Gate Bridge. Thanks for joining me on my walk today. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, and share.